Everybody, welcome back to Benton. I'm Yumble, and today we're just going to jump in and start building. Enjoy. For today, I had every intention of building this area over here, or at least getting it started in kind of the eastern corner from this orientation, but I don't have enough tiles to gain access to this part of the highway, which is kind of important because I was going to do a connection. So I suppose for today, let's go down to the farm, which I was able to complete on stream. I had to do a bit of thinking, a bit of soul searching with the farm. I generally don't play with industries, but I took a little extra time and did it over on Twitch and just kind of took my time with it. Had a lot of fun. But I suppose the area around it probably has residents and shopping. So we've got our industry taken care of for now. You know, industry is looking okay. But let's build some roads and see if we can't refine this a little bit and get some more people living here, that kind of thing. Now, the way I see it is there's a good chance that there's a road coming off of here that follows the river, kind of, and connects to these already existing connections. So that makes sense. And coming up this way... Almost. Let's redo this one, I think. And this road is very cool. I mentioned it earlier, but it's the Dutch suburban road with trees. So it's a road that bikes and cars can share. And it has trees. Guess what tree it has? I'll give you one guess. It's definitely young linden. Just to be clear. So I like that, and then perhaps we'll curve it towards this node here. Yeah. To the ground, please. To the ground. No reason for a bridge there. Nice. And we can reconnect these spots here. Cool. So that gives us some space for buildings and such. And of course, we're going to want them all to connect. We're going to want a bit more connectivity in this area so we can fit a few more buildings, perhaps. Like that. Maybe it kind of follows the road as well. I wonder what buildings go along these roads, if any. The big roads, at least. I haven't thought of it. That's cool. And we can kind of follow the shape of the already existing road. And maybe there's even a second connection or something. Maybe it depends. If this gets bogged down with too much traffic, a second connection would actually make a ton of sense. So let's do this. Let's go right angle there. Why not? Maybe it used to connect, but it doesn't anymore. In terms of like the city planning over the years. Something like that would not be bad. Makes sense. And these probably go up into the other area too. So these will be our main connections into this section of the city. Also. Now, can we get a little more... No, actually, let's not stress the density here. Let's just let that breathe. We'll leave like an open space in the middle. This one I'm on the fence about. Sitting on the fence. Let's leave it open. And we'll leave this open too. Let's not overcrowd it with roads, if possible. Our grid is disconnected. So we're using... I mean, it's connected because of these power lines. Is there a different spot? I mean, really anywhere. Let's do some power lines that aren't up here because I'm about to be building roads and I'm going to disconnect the grid if I don't pay attention. Just get us over this road. Going down. That might even be temporary. I'm not sure. It's in the bridge. Anarchy. Anarchy! Here's what you can do. With move it, use the picker, select one of these pylons, and then move them all up. And I did a bad job. What we need is the node, not the pylon itself. There it is. So we got to move the network out of the bridge. Just for looks, really. It doesn't matter. And I don't know that this will always be here is the other thing. But it'll certainly get the job done while we do some construction. Okay, roads going up into this area. By the way, traffic has been really, really good. I haven't added any transit yet. I was really hoping to have some sort of major backup before adding transit in true, in classic fashion. But for now, I saw this as high as 87 when I loaded the save. Now it's settled in at a cool 85. Major intersections are still major, but not a problem. So there's your traffic update for the your minute-to-minute traffic update. All right, up into the area. Let's do it. That doesn't explain how this is going to act, unless this is just a park. This could be a park too. There's no reason to overdo anything. Now, this might go up by 4 meters, I think. The highway's kind of on a hill, isn't it? Yeah, it is. That's fine. Ah, we can connect to this road, too. That would be nice. For garbage trucks to get into this area? Yep. Connectivity is a good thing. But it probably starts at the top of this hill. Yeah, let's do this. Freeform it. And we'll kind of make an S-bend. It's certainly going to be eyeballed. There it is. Let's make this part longer, so it's not so sudden. But the idea is there. Or better yet, check this out. Let's make these connections sort of parallel to the highway. I say sorta, it's not even close, but the idea is there. And then what we can do is actually make a road going back this way and then use network multi-tool to automatically make an S-curve of whatever spec we need. Bigger. That's fine. Cool. Okay. That gets us into this area. Good connectivity there. This, I suppose, is going to remain open. I think that would be the smartest move. But let's see how the zoning squares look here. This is a bit large, so we can refine this into something a little nicer. Something a little more usable, rather. There we go. Cool. I'm gonna kind of look at this and zone it in and see what we can do with it. See how it affects Rico, and then we'll move on to this area. Okay, looking solid. We've grown the pop by probably 1 to 2,000. So we got a couple more residential citizens in there, you know. They're living. So let's continue on. I'm still liking that Dutch suburban road. It's very clean looking, so I'm going to keep using it to fill in this area a bit. What I imagine here are at least 2 connections from this road, and probably 1 additional coming off of this one. Sort of similar to what we have going on up here. Sort of similar. Variation on a theme. Perhaps... let's see. Unless it's 3 connections. Let's do 3 connections instead. That makes more sense. 1. And then 1 up here. And a 3rd in the center. Cool. I like that. Somewhat evenly spaced. Now, as far as how that integrates with the farm roads, I'm not totally sure yet, but we'll figure that out momentarily. So that is a block. And this is a block. And that's a connection too. Perfect. That's good. So let's look at the center here. I'm thinking in terms of road hierarchy. I'm looking at these larger roads and just seeing where the connections will live. Something like that. And if we can mimic this road in a way, that would work really, really well. Kinda. Yeah, let's go for it. Variation on a theme, once again. Oh, look at that. They love it. So I'm going to start, just like this road doesn't actually connect to this arterial, I'm going to not connect the arterial here because these are enough connections. And we'll just start going up the middle of this one as well. Cool. Nice. We love a good grid. It's a grid. It's not a perfect grid, but it's still a grid. Though I've found that most effective and well-connected cities are rather gridded. They don't have to be a perfect grid, but even a medieval city core has a grid elements to it, assuming that people walked in ways that make sense. Okay. Something like that. Continue these up. Let's fill these in a little bit. Maybe another connection up here would make sense. Just so this whole area isn't hung out to dry in terms of getting to this spot. There's also a fun little connection that I opted for up here. Just a little farm highway interchange interface. Kind of a weird solution, but it seems to work well. That's fine. One more of that. Cool. I like what I'm seeing. We may be able to continue down into this area too. Well, now that we've come this far... No. No, 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 no. Let's leave these open, or we'll figure out some sort of use for them. So I can't unlock this tile, but I can go down to about this point here. So let's see if we follow the river a little bit more. I've gone back to our arterial road at this point. Something like that, just to establish a major route mimicking the highway coming down this way. A major, though more local, route makes sense there to me. And a bit of this. A bit more connectivity. Ah, that's not the road I intended to click, but that's fine. You'll notice throughout this whole thing, I'm interspersing little bits of asymmetrical roads. Basically, I'm adding turn lanes. So in certain spots, if I find that the traffic density overwhelms that situation, adding an extra lane is good to a point. So let's put it this way. I don't think that unlimited lanes on the highway are the answer. There's certainly a meme, just one more lane. That's not really what I'm talking about, though. I'm talking about adding a left turn lane. You know, a protected left turn is not evil, in my opinion. You can add a protected left turn and it helps a lot. Or even the ideal situation, in my opinion, is this sort of road here, where you get a four-lane road. So you get a dedicated right, a dedicated left, and then two straight throughs. So a 4+2 into another 4+2. I mean, we can look at this down here. I haven't highlighted this in any videos, but this is the solution to this intersection, is to have those asymmetrical roads allowing turns to stack up independent of the straight through traffic, right? And you can see the lane usage is quite good if you do it this way. And then lane math wise, it's also perfect because you're subtracting the two that are turning and you're going into the two. So a 4+2 makes sense for a three-legged intersection, basically. That's my take on that. More than that is useful, maybe if you want two left-hand turns, right? If you want two left turn lanes, then I could see maybe a 5x2 or a 5x3 or whatever. There's reasons to do that. Or you could reallocate one of the straight through lanes into an additional left. If really the main route is going left, you could just have one going through and two going left. But anyway, I digress. That's my spiel about you can add a lane in it and it helps alleviate traffic and give them options and let them out a little bit easier. So this looks kind of busted to me, so I'm actually going to hit, what's it called? To terrain height. That is the terrain height. Okay. Busted it is. I'm not going to mess around with that. We're going to let it live. I've struggled in general with allowing... What's a good way to say it? Allowing organic elevation to occur. It's hard for me to resist flattening out a whole area of the map because I know I can make it look perfect. I know I can make it even and balanced and all this stuff. But in reality, you don't terraform a whole city. You kind of terraform out a spot for a building more so. Right? You terraform a plot of land rather than the whole area. Cool. And I guess we'll use this as an excuse. We're already right up against the grid there, right up against the usable area. So we'll do that. These trees will not survive this, as it turns out. See ya. We may re-add trees later, but for now I just want to get into this. Very nice. It's probably 12. 13. 11. 13. Now, how many connections does this road deserve is the next question. Probably enough. Probably enough. Oh, geez, now I'm on the fence about it. That's okay. Here, let's just stay the course, and if we have to reduce the amount of connections later, we will. In real life, it happens all the time where cities will have one connection that exists, and then they'll say, no thank you. So you'll get this, just like this road here. Maybe this used to connect to the arterial, and now it doesn't. That's not a real-life example. We're still in Benton. Unbelievable, I know. The photorealism is just so it's just so evident. All right, let's refine this a little bit so it's a touch more walkable and well-connected. You might laugh when I say walkable. Grids are intensely walkable. Pick a direction and you can get out of the grid, or at least make it to a major crossing, or whatever you need to do. Very nice. So I didn't show my zoning scheme for the last one. I think we don't have enough residential, so let's ensure that we get enough residential in the next moment here. As I was saying, I didn't really show you the zoning scheme. There was a lot of commercial demand, so I did a bunch of low-density commercial in here. Bit of low-density residential, high-density residential, and then low up at the top. So it's kind of a mix, and there's shopping throughout. But because of that, now we have a bunch of residential demand. So maybe, along the water here at least, let's do the paint tool. The paint tool is not the actual name for this. Circle Boy. Large brush. Feels like painting. So let's do high-density residential along the way here. Neat. I'm going to do commercial along this road. Let's fill it in instead. Oops, oops, oops. I take it back. Square. This is almost certainly the marquee tool. Could it be? Marquee, yep. Classic. So my theory here is that I want a bit of shopping along the old arterial, as one does. And then I think I mainly want low density going up into the area. So let's continue the theme here. This can also be high density. Residential, that is. Here's my thing. I think this game has a problem, or I have a problem with the game has no problems. The game is perfect, but I have a problem with zero problems. I have a problem with high density commercial. It just blasts. It doesn't act like real high density commercial does in real life, in my opinion. And because of that, I have not even used it in this city, and everything is fine. I think it's probably bad for employment, or rather it's the employment. The Sims are expected to have high-density commercial to work at, but I struggle to find the difference between high-density commercial and offices, or if there's overlap between those things in the real world. Feel free to, if you have an explanation or a way of rationalizing this in the comments, feel free, but the high-density commercial buildings that I've seen, other than maybe shopping malls or something like that, but a high-density, like high-rise building is usually offices, even if it's owned by a commercial entity, right? Just ignore what I'm doing right now. Just don't think about it, don't look at it. Most importantly, don't worry about it. Nice. And the power is not connected yet. We may help that along with a bit of a wire here. Let's get this across the road for now. Without without electrocuting anyone. I'm just going to put this in a position where it can support a bit. Until the grid is connected, and then I'll probably delete it again. But for now, let's do this. Tiny House 2.0. Beautiful. Is that going to unify the grid? I don't know. I hope so. We'll check back on that in a minute. While we're thinking of it, was it called Tiny House? It's you, right? Little House. I'm sorry, Little House. Little House is still doing great. Their view hasn't really changed. They still have some great riverfront property, I suppose. They're still looking over at the high-rises on the island. I think they've got it made in the shade, one could say. I think Little House is doing just fine. Okay. Well, I don't want anyone to... I don't want the houses to get deleted or anything. Here, we'll just sacrifice a bit of zoning in favor of having the grid be connected there. Hopefully just for now. Once these buildings, I think that this will catch. Especially if we zone something in here. Like right now, let's just do a little plot of commercial in here. I also haven't added any services or, you know, trash is possibly an issue. Oh, those buildings closed. That's okay. We're about to have a bunch of low-density residential move in as well. Offices would be a good move, too. Let's see. Brush them in. Ah, okay. I think that the office demand is truly offices. So here, let's get rid of... We have so much commercial. Let's get rid of this commercial, and we'll make a little patch of offices, just so this whole area has somewhere to work. I'm not using realistic population or anything, so it'll be a very low number of offices, but I think that those are going to grow in real quick. Cool. Yeah, I'm just going to zone the rest of this in low-density residential, probably, and see if I need to intersperse more offices to fix the industry office demand. Just a moment. As the area starts growing in the bottom left, I figured we could look at Hickory Agricultural Area. If you want to see the breakdown of things, we are producing a lot of crops. Yeah, there we go. I was going to say, why are we importing anything? We are making... we are creating crops in excess of what we are manufacturing. But the reality is we are crushing it. A moment ago it was showing 40,000 profit. That'll bounce around, of course, but certainly this is working, and it's created a lot of jobs as well. I'm sure that there's a way to see exactly how many jobs. Maybe it even says on here. There we go. 1,704 possible jobs, 1,500 employed. So I'd say that's successful. We're certainly overproducing crops, but that sort of fills out the farm area. If I had to do things again, or if I had to maybe plan out a different city, the goal of Benton, keep this in mind, the goal of Benton was always to fill in this center of the highway area, so anything that I develop outside of that extends how long it's going to take to do this. So I'm really trying to keep most of the building within the highway. Of course, these guys are outside because these are big, dirty processing plants, and that's a nuclear power plant, but... and I've got my array of sewage and my array of water pumps, right? Fresh water pumps. So the goal is to fill this in, but if I were going to make it more realistic, then certainly the farmland would be extending outside the city. Or the industrial area of any kind would be sort of extending. It would have been pushed out over time, hopefully. As new things go up, old things get torn down. So if I were aiming for something more realistic, then certainly the farmland would go out here. Just doesn't suit my needs this time. I'm going to continue zoning this. Basically what I'm doing here is I'm watching the demand curve, and I'm saying, okay, cool, we need more. Maybe, you know what, let's throw in high-density commercial. At the risk of causing massive traffic, I'll do it. Throw in a block of high-density commercial. And I've also thrown in services. I've got, so the police station, fire station, I put a dump there, or the waste transfer facility, rather, so it can serve the farm as well as this entire area. A couple of schools. So there's elementary school, high school, probably something else, too, that I'm forgetting. Police, fire. There's a medical center somewhere. Yep, there it is. Medical clinic. So this area is fully serviced, I think, except by transit. I know earlier I said the city has no transit. That's not entirely true. It has no internal transit specifically. But we do still have a bus station, right? We have a, what's this called? Intercity bus station as an inlet in these two areas. So this whole area has its own bus station. This kind of downtown area has a bus station. I'm not sure if I'll extend a bus station to this area. Certainly, these areas will get their own bus stations. These very large bits of land that we're going to have to cover in future episodes. But yeah, for now I'm going to keep an eye on the demand curve and just keep sort of nudging this in the direction that I want it to go. Wow, that came in fast. The game is thirsty for high-density commercial, apparently. Once again, feel free to comment about that. I know that it's commercial and it's high density, but when compared to low density commercial, I don't know. Just more jobs, more highly educated jobs, perhaps. I just wish it acted more like high density commercial that I'm familiar with in real life. That's it for now. Let me keep zoning this in, and we'll see what happens next. There's a criminal at the silos. I just thought you should know. Well, this is totally perfect. We've unlocked a new area by achieving Metropolis. So 48,000 population. Pretty good. I think we actually unlock all of the... Yeah, we unlock all the new areas next. As long as I'm using 81 tiles. We'll see what happens with that, but at the very least, I've got one new area, which undoubtedly for next episode will segue right into unlocking this tile, so we can start this spot here, and that will complete the northernmost section of the city inside of the Beltway. Looking forward to that. This is daunting. There's so much land here. There's a lot of land here. Soon we'll be finishing this as well. Still plenty of space. Still plenty of room for growth. And I'm very happy with this area. This is actually one of the more realistic looking sections of the city, in my opinion, where you've kind of got high density pushing up against the water and lower density pushing back further away as the higher density continues growing back this way over time, perhaps. But I think it looks good. I really like this. This one doesn't look quite as nice to me, if I'm being honest, but something had to go here, and it was a bit of an awkward space. So yeah, I'm very happy with this though, and looking forward to getting this area going. I intended to do it today, but no, next time. Everyone, I really appreciate you being here. Thank you for hanging out for another episode of Benton. The series is ongoing. I took a vacation 2 weeks ago and got a lot of comments of people saying, is this series dead? What's going on? And getting yelled at a lot. So please feel free to relax and continue enjoying the series. I'll let you know when it ends. I'll keep you in the loop. But as of right now, I intend on filling in the entire Beltway with cities as well as Skylines. The two go hand in hand, if you haven't noticed. That's all I've got for today. Everyone, thank you for hanging out. I've been Yumble. I'll see you in the next stream or the next video.